Hello and welcome back to What's Bubbling is ZIM. I'm Dr. Abstract, and in this bubbling we're going to continue to take a look at what's new in ZIM 019. Let's go to the ZIM site now at zimjs.com, and we can press what's new or hit the ZIM 019 up here. We have done a general intro bubbling to show you all of the new things here. Also, we've looked at cheat sheet 1 specifically and a shuffler, and we're now taking a look at the shader channels. Shader channels is what allowed perspective and glitch to be made. So let's have a look. Shader channel. We now can use shaders. So we introduced shaders back a couple of ZIMs ago, ZIM 016, I believe. And they were great. Actually, why don't we go take a peek? Why not? So if you hit ZIM 019, where we are, you can also see what's new in the other ZIMs. And in ZIM 016, we introduced shaders. So right here is a little mini site of shaders. Ooh. So blobbity, blobbity, blobbity. And then, let's see, you could have effects like this. But these effects did not operate on ZIM things. It was just taking shader code and putting it into ZIM and showing it on the canvas. So that was kind of too bad. Yet in ShaderToy, this place right here, ShaderToy has these things called channels, and channels would operate on pictures or on video and apply the shader code to those. And we would have to say, oh, if it has channels, then it's not in ZIM. So in ZIM 016, it was not here. We've tried over the last couple ZIMs to figure out how to get it to dynamically apply to ZIM objects, and now we have. So in the shader channels here, this is a shader that's being applied to a ZIM picture in behind there. Yay! Because we can now pass the picture in as a channel. And there are 4 channels that we can pass in, so 4 different things we can apply shaders to. That's how many there are in ShaderToy as well. So it's not just a static picture as well, though that'll be quite popular, but there is a display object that we're now, an animated display object that we're applying the shader to. Yay! So they could be pics, vids, so this could be a vid in behind here, a tile, for instance, a button. So we're doing glitch. So right now we've got up here is a glitch that's happening soon. There it is. And so we use the same process to apply the glitch to that display object up there, but it can also be a shader. So you could, any of those other shaders, we could bring in those shaders and pass them into the shader channels here. So cool, huh? And back to version 1. All right, let's take a look at the code to see how what that looks like, how it's done. Pop on over here. So we're bringing in ZIM 019. And down below a background picture and a label, shader channels. Then we have the fragment shader right here. It almost really doesn't matter what that is. That came from ShaderToy. So there's the URL from ShaderToy, and it looks like this. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. So we're getting a little bit better at shaders as we go. They're still quite Byzantine. Anyway, there we are bringing in the banner picture. That is the part here, ZIM banner. We're centering it, moving it. We've got a holder. We took a pic, clone of the pic. Why do we need to do that, do you think? We got the holder. We clone the pic inside and center regged. Just think. It's a little bit tricky working with the shader itself needed sort of a full stage size to operate, to be able to drag around on the whole stage there. We did limit it. The shader right now is operating on that and not on this. So if you brought that up above, it would not operate on that, and it would look kind of odd. So we limited where you can drag the shader, and same with this button. It doesn't operate on the button. But anyway, that's kind of up to you, the nuances, I suppose. But because it needs a whole stage and the picture is smaller, I think that's why we put it in a holder that is the width and the height there, and then put the picture in there. Why we actually had to clone the picture, I don't know why we didn't just put it in there. I expect we could have. There might have been something else that we were building, sort of a different way of doing it. Shall we just try? We're scaling it. We're centering it. We don't need to really center and move it. But there's the holder. We could just take the pick inside as a pick.clone and center it on the holder. Why don't we comment this out and just say pick.center on the holder. And let's see what happens. Open in default browser. Ah. Okay. So yes, a nuance. We're dragging the whole thing. Okay, so you see what I mean? It's a little bit tricky to figure out sometimes how to arrange this. So right now we're dragging the whole shader, and therefore that's saying, I remember now. So what we're doing is when the picture is not under the shader, it's the real picture. And when it is under the shader, it's the shader. And we're actually, yeah, okay, so there's more to it. This other second part here, right here, that guy. All right, so let's undo that then. Wasn't quite that simple. All right, so we've got an original picture, and that's scaled and located at a certain place. We have a holder, and then we've cloned the picture and centered it in the holder. And we've made our shader and passed in the whole holder. So this whole container with the clone of the picture is being passed in to the shader right there as a channel. So that's our new parameter. Channel 0 is receiving a holder. There's also channel 1, channel 2, channel 3. There's also whether those channels are dynamic. And by default, they're assumed to be dynamic, but if they're not dynamic, if we're not dragging something in it and making the shader kind of operate on something that's dynamic or animated, etc., then you may as well turn those not to be dynamic, and then it will reduce processing. Okay, and we are now saying that we're going to be able to drag that shader, and there's our boundary that we were talking about, carefully placed in there so that the shader won't go too far up or too far down. Now the shader is operating on the holder. If we just drag the shader, then the picture inside goes with it. Below, we move the picture inside the holder so that it continues to sit on the original picture. So as we move the whole shader, so say I pick up the shader and I move it off to the left following my cursor there. I pick it up, move it off to the left. What we actually do is inside the shader, we move the picture inside the shader back to the right so that it always seems like that picture is on the original picture. So I'm not sure what we're seeing. I think you can actually, well, here, refresh this. You can actually see, let me save this, save and refresh this. You can actually see where it changes because the shader is operating on a cached object. The shader is all cached. So watch the right-hand side of the shader. I saw it go right there. Oh, I didn't see it that time. I can't tell it. Yeah, there I saw it. There's this little line, like it's about this wide. So basically, if this is in the center, from here to here, that's where the shader ends. So when I pick this up and bring it over to here, now the edge of the shader is somewhere here. And there's the real picture is in behind, and the shader picture is on top. Oh, I know how we could tell for sure. Let's, after we clone and put it in there, we can say the original pick.alpha, alp.2 or something like that. And now we'll see the original picture and the shader picture. Okay, you see that? And so our trick, and there goes the other side of it, our trick is to, as we move the shader, to put, to move the picture inside the shader the opposite amount. Isn't that funny? So yeah, I learned that trick. Are you ready? I learned that trick in 1996. So were you born in 1996? I've been doing interactive media since the mid-90s. And that was a trick that we did to handle, what was it? Something sort of similar to what we're doing here. It came up again, wondering. Anyway, it's a trick that we used back then, and I'm still using that trick now. We're 30 years later, something. And they say that technology changes. I don't know. We've been doing the same thing for quite some time. Anyway, isn't that neat? Not quite as we would expect, is it? And most things that you do won't be that tricky. It's not the end of the world to do it. Now that you know, it's really just adding that. But it, it's kind of a miraculous kludge. Okay, so there you go. You got an explanation there. And then we're bringing in the logo and a glitch with the shader. The glitch as well, there's the object for, it's called a glitch. So we've wrapped the shader up in this thing called a glitch. And the object that we're passing in would go into one of those channels in behind in the shader. And then the only thing about a glitch is it has a different set of these things right here, the fragment code. It's got 4 different fragment codes for different types of glitches, and you can just toggle between them. So that's basically what the glitch is. It's this system right here, that guy right there, but wrapped in a thing called the glitch. Same with perspective. Perspective's a bit more than that because we've got the all the interaction that's going on with the shader. So pop on back here. Oh, I'm local, so it doesn't work. This is remote, so we can pop on back here. And there's the perspective. So it's doing the same thing as well, where this is being passed into a shader as a channel, but then it's also got all of the interface around it, almost like the blob interface. Is quite complicated to do this stuff. Believe it or not, there's a lot of things going on here where we can move. Those are moving multiple corners. See how we did that? Like, so this just moves one side, but if I also select this other side, now I'm moving both those sides. And there's this kind of stuff going on. Yeah, so that was really quite complicated to make, but it's hopefully nice for you guys to have operating on perspective. But inside this perspective is really just the shader with a certain perspective shader code, fragment code. And then we're passing whatever object we say to please perspective this object. That goes into channel 0 or what have you. All right, and welcome to ZIM. Yeah, did you have fun? That was, which one did we just do? Can't even remember. The shader channels. And as you can see, that operates as well on moving things. So there it is, moving again, with a little bit of the trick to make everything, like all that stuff is in a holder, and we just animate the holder in the reverse of how we're animating the shader, and that's how it works. I am Dr. Abstract. Have a great day or night, and come on in and visit us at the forum right up here, forum or Discord. We'd love to hear from you. And that up top is also a shader that's been passed, like we made. That's actually a perspective. So we did a ZIM perspective, which is a shader, and we passed that ZIM perspective into a glitch, which is yet another shader. So there we are, passing a shader into a shader to get that final glitched perspective effect. And animating, we can bring up the alpha. That those all have uniforms, so we can control those uniforms, speeds and stuff like that. And there it is, just turned off, so that it's only if that bugs you. Alrighty, take it easy. Like I said, I'm Dr. Abstract. Have a great day or night, and this has been a What's Bubbling at ZIM. Cheers.